Are you a man in your 30s, 40s, or even 60s who has the sensation that your energy, drive, and vitality have gradually decreased over the course of your body's lifetime? If this is the case, you are enthusiastic about discovering whether or not you are experiencing this sensation. This communication, which has the potential to be the most crucial one you have received over the course of the past many years, is being sent to you, and you are the recipient of it. Permit me to elaborate for a moment. At this very time, men are exhausted of their efforts. Combating his exhausted physically, but I am also emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually depleted. I am exhausted, totally and absolutely drained. Combating insult to injury, the overwhelming majority of them are clueless about the reason. It calls for a considerable amount of work to be put in. Pressure that you put on yourself is something that you do. As the provider, you are the one in charge. On the other hand, you are aware, on a more profound level, of the fact that you are no longer functioning at the level of capacities that you were before capable of. Stabilize, find that your mornings are a little bit slow here and there. This is a normal occurrence. There has been a decrease in your level of motivation. Subsidize, some of the feelings of motivation begin to go away. There is an excessive amount of your attention being split apart. If you were to look at yourself in the mirror, what type of a man would you see? It is possible to get the feeling that he is a diminished version of the person you used to be. This is something that someone may see. You are not to blame for this circumstance, as the fact of the matter is that you are not to blame. However, it is up to you to perform the obligation that has been assigned to you. You have not been injured in any way, shape, or form. To put it another way, you are using an operating system that is no longer maintained. These systems are no longer supported. Whether in the psychologic stress will using math-air environment, that mans are not invested in devices. What that mans are going. It's still designed to you are where, digital now, what that man are going in a terror to. The test to engage in diet that is not functioning without your man. Do that time operators, to confine the motor screen, both activated a lively intelligence. You are a male, you have the ability to reclaim the vitality, power, and self-assurance that have always been yours. These are qualities that you have always held in your possession. What do you consider to be the most fascinating facet of the context? In order for you to carry out acts on your own, it is not necessary for you to possess anything. It is no requirement for you to get all of the information that is available to you. Underestimated Joe Rogan, who is a well-known podcaster, martial artist, thinker, and modern philosopher, have already found it out, which is the primary reason for this. Rogan is also a martial artist. In addition, I will demonstrate how Joe finishes this exercise in this post, as well as how you may get the same result on your own. I will also provide you some recommendations in addition to that. I am Dr. Mohit Kaur, and I would like to address you. My knowledge and expertise gained over the course of 30 years have provided me with the opportunity to collaborate with guys who are similar to you. I have personal experience with the transformation of men who are fatigued and dissatisfied into energetic leaders, powerful dads, passionate husbands, and fascinating persons. This transition transpires as a consequence of the application of the essential routines, knowledge, and support. In order to accomplish the goals of this essay, I will discuss the 5 most important secrets that individuals like Joe Rogan employ on a daily basis to maintain their youthfulness, attention, and drive, as well as to be dangerous in the most efficient manner possible. Each and every one of these secrets has been proven to be effective, and they are all supported by scientific evidence and confirmed by my clinical expertise. Their efficacy has been proved. It has been brought to my attention that men who are in their 50s have excelled themselves when they were 30 years old. Men have been able to reverse the symptoms of prediabetes, boost their testosterone levels, restart their relationships, and regain a state of vigor that they had believed they had entirely lost. These are just some of the examples that have been documented. The moment has come to get started. The first and most important secret is the hormonal reset button, which may be either cold exposure or heat treatment, depending on the individual's preferences. Joe Rogan begins each day by submerging his entire body in water that is very cold and comes from the ocean. This is the moment when he begins his day. The power of will is not the only factor that is taken into consideration in this scenario. It is pertinent with regard to the field of biology. When a human is exposed to cold, a hormonal cascade is activated, which results in an increase in norepinephrine. This causes the individual to feel colder. As a consequence of this, there is a reduction in inflammation and an increase in alertness as a result. A rise in your levels of dopamine, which is the chemical that is responsible for motivation, is something that you experience. As a consequence of this, you will feel alert, lively, and well-prepared when you depart. This issue is comprised of several different aspects, one of which is the energy situation in the short term. Realizado, a hormonal resistance that is long-lasting, can be accomplished by exposing oneself to cold for an extended period of time. The levels of testosterone in your body are currently in the process of building up. You will notice an increase in the rate at which your metabolism functions. Bastian seeing an increase in the robustness of your immune system. When you submerge yourself in cold water for just 3 minutes, you run the risk of setting off a chain reaction that will have an effect on the whole day. This might have a significant impact on how the day unfolds. Additionally, Joe reacts to it by producing heat and try to offset the effects of it. Taking it easy. Treatment makes use of infrared light therapy. Currently, there is a dry heat. Every single type of heat stress is what sets off the activation of heat shock proteins, which are proteins that carry out a function that is analogous to that of the body's own repair team. Of advantageous actions are carried out by these proteins, such as the restoration of injured cells, the enhancement of muscular recovery, and even the enhancement of cognitive performance. Have you ever considered the possibility of enhancing the quality of your sleep, postponing the aging process, and producing testosterone without the need for a prescription? Make use of both elements of heat and chill in your strategy. Customers said that they have had a reduction in overall anxiety, an improvement in morning erections, and a 50% reduction in joint discomfort as a result of having only 3 to 5 sessions per week. Additionally, they have reported that they have experienced an improvement in morning erections. Taking a cold shower for 3 minutes in the morning and then partaking in a hot bath or sauna session for 15 minutes in the evening would be a fundamental approach that could be implemented. By doing so, a habit would be established that is not only effective, but also soothing. As a consequence of this, your nervous system will experience beneficial impacts as a potential outcome. By engaging in intermittent fasting, you can potentially gain control of your metabolism, which is the second secret uncovered. The manner in which Joe Rogan takes his meals is not comparable to the manner in which a typical guy conducts himself. Acting in his role as a warrior, he consumes food. He goes without eating for a total of 16 hours on a daily basis. This is the length of time that he can go without eating. For what purpose? Consequently, when you are fasting, your insulin levels will decrease as a result of this concept. Once you have reached this point, your body will start to extract fuel from the fat that it has accumulated. There is an increase in the levels of human growth hormone, which plays a role in the maintenance of the current muscle mass. Autophagy is the process that initiates the cleaning up of injured cells after they have been destroyed. This is not about famine. Rather, it is about becoming as productive as possible under the circumstances. When all is said and done, what is the result? Your hormone function will improve, your cognition will become more clear, you will have more energy, and you will have less fat in your abdominal region as a result of this. As an additional point of interest, Joe's diet is comprised of grass-fed elk meat, fermented vegetables, organ meats, seafood that is abundant in omega-3 fatty acids, low-carb greens, herbs, and berries, all of which are carefully chosen. When it comes to products, they are not limited to food items. Misuse supplies are the subject of this inquiry. When you combine the practice of intermittent fasting with physical activity, you will notice that the advantages of this practice are much greater. I went for a stroll in the morning, despite the fact that I was participating in a fast. It is recommended that you engage in some type of physical activity shortly after beginning your fasting period. Through the execution of these straightforward adjustments, you have the potential to educate your body to burn fat more effectively. It is possible for this one habit to repair insulin resistance, improve complexion, stimulate libido, and assist my patients in losing 10 to 15 pounds without ever having to count calories. All of these benefits may be achieved without exercising. Achieving all of these benefits is possible without ever having to calculate the number of calories consumed. To increase the amount of movement you do, to strengthen it, and to help it live longer, you should exercise your body. It is the third secret that we have. As Joe Rogan moves around, it is almost as if he is a machine that has not evolved much over the years. That only does he engage in weightlifting, but he also engages in other activities. Movement, balance, coordination, and martial arts are all areas that he focuses on improving. He also works on enhancing his overall physical fitness. For what purpose? Mostly due to the fact that the male body was intended to crawl, climb, twist, squeeze, and pull. The development of it was primarily motivated by this principle. Simply sitting at desktops and looking through mobile devices is not enough to accomplish the task at hand. The most effective anti-aging lotion that is now accessible is functional strength training, which encompasses activities such as yoga, martial arts, bodyweight exercises, and functional strength training with kettlebells. Functional strength training is the only product that can provide the same level of advantages as functional strength training. Testosterone are rising, which is a positive development, works to reduce stiffness in the joints by providing relief, increases the brain's ability to adapt to new experiences and situations. In addition to this, you will cultivate a sense of peaceful certainty that other people will be able to pick up on as a result of this. In order to begin started, you should attempt performing exercises such as squats, push-ups, and planks by yourself. Stretching should be integrated into the overall plan. Daily walks should be taken. Week ought to consist of 3 occasions in which you lift something that is on the heavier side. You simply need gravity and consistency in order to exercise. A gym is not necessary. The only thing you need to have in order to work out is gravity. Remember that males who stop moving about tend to age more quickly than those who continue to move around. Move are not something that people choose to perform on their own volition. It is necessary to do so. This is the fourth and last secret, which is sleep. The spring of youth that has been neglected despite its significant importance. In Joe Rogan's opinion, sleep is analogous to physical exercise in terms of its positive effects. The rationale can be stated in this manner. In the deepest stages of sleep, your body is able to repair muscle tissue. This occurs during the time that you are sleeping. Oxygen is not being delivered to the cells that make up your brain. It is you, on an individual basis, who is responsible for producing testosterone, differing the ability to regain your emotional equilibrium through your active participation. In the same way as a bad night's sleep is comparable to an uncomfortable way of life. Having a room that is cool, having drapes that are opaque, taking magnesium before bed, and not using any electronic devices for 1 hour before bedtime are all things that contribute to Joe's improved sleeping environment. Each and every one of these modifications is performed in order to guarantee that Joe will have a peaceful night's sleep and understand, mask brainless environments in interesting understand. This is in addition to the fact that he maintains a careful watch on the features of his sleep and makes adjustments as required. During my time dealing with chief executive officers who were on testosterone replacement medication, I found that all they need was an increase in the quality of their daily sleep. The natural testosterone levels in their bodies restored to normal after a short period of time, and they began to wake up with increased vitality and clarity that they had not experienced before. Furthermore, they experienced a reduction in their levels of stress, and they returned to their normal levels of testosterone level. The quantity of sleep that an individual obtains is not the only factor to take into consideration. In this particular instance, quality is of the utmost importance. Velocity at a high priority, as if your life depended on it, because in truth it does depend on it. You should treat it as if it were really important. Taking supplements and ensuring that your brain receives adequate nutrients are the fifth secret, and they are properly positioned. Joe Rogan has accomplished a great deal of recognition as a result of the nutritional supplements that he develops and sells, and there is a solid reason for this. Insulated of accuracy with which his technique is carried out is one of the things that sets it apart from other approaches. Picking up and taking his medication is not something that happens by chance. He does it on purpose. The majority of his expectations are centered on 3 different aspects: taking blood samples, conducting personal experiments, and providing feedback. When determining his requirements, he takes into account these three aspects. It is composed of his core stack, which consists of the following. Vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 are also included in this. Magnesium and sodium glycinate combining with calcium ashwagandha, who is also referred to as tea fish oil, often contains omega-3 fatty acids. Monohydrate creatine is a specific kind of creatine. In its capacity as a mushroom, the lion's mane mushroom. In order to assure lifespan, NMN is utilized. When supplements are used in the manner that is advised, they have the potential to be of great assistance. Commemorate do they enhance recuperation, but they also give a number of other advantages, including the development of brain health, the preservation of hormonal homeostasis, and the replacement of nutritional shortages. On the other hand, dietary supplements are precisely what they sound like, a supplementary kind of assistance, patriotism and not as effective as hobbies, getting enough sleep, or having a goal in mind. However, they are nonetheless beneficial. Utilize them in a sequence that makes sense, keeping in mind that the last secrets are mindset, discipline, and legacy is something that should be kept in mind by everyone. It is not accurate to say that Joe Rogan's routine is emblematic of his best strength in any manner. In a certain frame of mind, he is currently. It is more convenient for him to have feelings of unease. The goal he has set for himself is to improve. Embraces than a goal in gaining recognition, he is more concerned with finding out the truth. You are more likely to have difficulties than other people since you are a guy. This is a natural tendency. That to prevail over adversity, to provide, to preserve, and to take control over. Nevertheless, in the society of today, a substantial percentage of men are perceived to be in a state of distraction, ease, and tenderness towards others. Now is the time for you to come up and make your opinion known. As soon as you begin to respect your body, train your mind, and master your habits, you will become undefeated and unstoppable. Now is the time when you will finally be able to take control of your routines. Over the course of my career, I have seen that older men, particularly those in their 30s, tend to build more muscle than younger men, particularly those in their 60s. Marriages have been able to endure and even flourish throughout history. Threesome depressed condition itself has come to an end, and I have witnessed it. The glimmer of hope has resurfaced within the realm of existence. One of the primary reasons for this is that as a man regains his health, he also regains his power. Then you should take urgent action. Make a decision to implement one of the concepts presented in this script into your daily life. Next, we have yet another person. Next, we have yet another person. Ease to that, make sure you always monitor the progression of your life. I would want to bring to your notice the fact that an individual does not suffer a drop in their degree of vitality as they age. My name is Dr. Mohit Kaur, and I would like to bring this to your attention. When you can't remember who you are, you end up losing something that you once treasured deeply in your heart. It is imperative that the fire be brought under control. Take back control of your concentration. Master your own fate and take control of your own life. Bear in mind that Joe Rogan is also accountable for this, since this is a vital point to keep in mind. It is also true that the same is true for you. If you are interested in learning more, subscribe to our channel. In this precise instant, the beginning of your metamorphosis has reached its commencement.